Hey guys, Luke here, and I'm here to preview the 2015 NRL season, and this is round 3, and we're going to be doing Friday Night Football. So there's 2 games for Friday. It's going to be the Sea Eagles taking on the Bulldogs, and the Broncos taking on the Cowboys. We're going to start off with the Sea Eagles and the Bulldogs, and we're going to go through the team lineups first. So Manly are the home side, so we'll start off with them. So we've got Brett Stewart, Blair, Lyon, Matai, Hiku, Mateo, Cherry Evans, Burgess, that's Luke Burgess that is, Ballin, Mason, Bura, Simons, and Louis. And the benches, Senna, Lafai, Leary, Trebojevic, Jacob Trebojevic, that is the prop, Liggy, Sayo, and Justin Horrors, 18th man, one to be admitted. The Bulldogs is Brett Morris, Rona, Josh Morris, Lafai, Sam Perrott, Mbai, Hogginson, Tolman, Leacher, Graham, Jackson, Williams, Eastwood. And the benches, Casiano, Clemmer, Pritchard, Brown, and Lloyd Perrott, with one to be admitted. Now, talking about the form, both these sides, it hasn't been spectacular from either side. I'd say Bulldogs a little bit better than, or a fair bit better than Manly. But Manly, I think they showed a lot of improvement last week. I think that's the word. Particularly Cherry Evans. I thought Mateo had a pretty good game at 5'8". But I just want to point out, like, Mateo, Mateo's got one of those games in him. It's just he doesn't produce it. Produces it maybe like once or twice a year. So he's already got one out of the way. So Manly fans, if previous seasons anything to go by, I wouldn't expect too much out of Mateo. But at 5'8", he's played there a fair bit, not for a long while, and I questioned it. I thought Tuvi was insane putting him at 5'8", but it seemed to work out okay. I'm not going to say it was a huge success because Storm were pretty terrible until their late little flurry at the end, but you got to give credit to Manly. They put a fair few points on. They did get very lucky with some of the refs calls, but you can only play what's in front of you. But yeah, Cherry Evans, Brett Stewart, they'll be the key to Manly. Also, I mean, the centre matchup's actually really good. But speaking of the Bulldogs, I thought they were very impressive in part for the Parramatta game. I mean, overall, you look at the performance, you look at the score, and you say, oh, well, they smashed them. But it wasn't really like that. Eels had a fair few injuries, but in particular, Brett Morris was just outstanding. I thought Mbai looked solid. None of them, like Hogginson, had a pretty shocking game, which I think says a lot about the Bulldogs that, they're not playing the greatest and picking up a big win, especially like Hogginson is one of their key players and had a very shitty game and still won pretty comfortably in the end. But yeah, for a long period of game, it was a contest. Where I think the Bulldogs, because I'm a Bulldogs fan, so obviously I'm going to be tipping the Bulldogs, and I'm going to say 1-12. And where I feel it's going to be 1, it's just in the 4-pack. So the first week, the Eels side couldn't outmuscle the Bulldogs side, which is what many predicted. But the Eels side just made the Sea Eagles 4-pack look like little school kids. It was absolutely ridiculous. And then on the edges, they just burned them. And I feel the same thing may happen in this game, because I think Bulldogs got a better forward pack. Maybe not as agile, but I think they're a lot bigger and stronger, which, I mean, it could play in very well for the Sea Eagles, because we saw against the Storm, they have sort of a bigger sort of pack like the Bulldogs, less mobile, just more size, and Tom Simons and all those guys rip them apart. But hopefully from a Bulldogs perspective that doesn't happen, and T-Rex and Josh Jackson, that be hitting the holes that Graham and Tolman lay the foundation for. It'd be very good. And then hopefully Lafai also gets more involved in this game. I feel he's been a little bit quiet compared to usual, and also Josh Morris gets some early ball. That'd be phenomenal. Probably won't happen, but I'm going to say 1-12. I do think Bulldogs will score a fair few tries. It's just, if anything like the previous games go by, Bulldogs get a bit of a lead, a comfortable lead, and then Sea Eagles make a comeback, even levelling it one time. Although it did end up winning, but yeah, it's just how it seems to happen. And I do think Bulldogs have a pretty good record at Brookvale, so playing at Brookvale shouldn't be that much of a problem. So yeah, once again, Bulldogs 1-12. Moving on to the Broncos and the Cowboys, so it's a Queensland clash. I'm going to go through the team lineups. So we start off with Brisbane as they're the home side. So we've got Kahu, Oates, Reid, Hodges, Maranta, Milford, Hunt, Maguire, McCulloch, Blair, Glenn, Gillett, Parker, and the bench is Wallace, Offen, Gowie, I think that's how you pronounce it. We've got Thaiday and Cody Nikorima. Cowboys side, it's a little bit different in this one, and they finally made some changes. We've got Lachlan Coote making his return since like 2 years ago. We've got O'Neill still in the wing, Wright, Linnett, Felt, Morgan, Thurston, Scott, Kosh, Jason, Hennett, Cooper, Lowe, and Taumalolo, and the bench is Granville, Tanginoa, Bolton, Tamu, and Asiata with one to be admitted. And talking about the form of both their sides, Broncos won last week, but they really weren't that impressive. The combinations aren't really clicking. It's just not really working for them. I can't pinpoint what's the actual like definite problem for them, but yeah, something's just not working. And the same can be said for the Cowboys, really. I know they came up against a red hot Roosters side, but last week against the Knights, there's no excuses for that. Now I know people are gonna say like Thurston got roughed up a little bit, but even then, like if Thurston's having a little bit of a rough night, you expect your Michael Morgans, and I know Robert Louis been dropped, or I think he's been dropped, but you know, some of the other bigger players to step up. I mean, they got the Australian props, and even Ben Hannett was once like he was a rep player. So you expect them to be able to just step up and fill in for him for a little bit. I mean, I know Thurston carries the side pretty hard, but I don't know, maybe that just shows just how much Thurston carries his side, how much he means to him. The fact that if he has an average game, like, they are shithouse. And, like, Knights aren't a great side. And, you know, you've lost 2 from 2 at the start of the season at your home ground. Like, we always say about the Cowboys, saying they can't travel well. And luckily for them, Suncorp's not too much of a hike for them. But, you know, at the same time, like, your conditions, your home ground, they need to win, like, all their games. I mean, obviously they can't win all their games up there, but they got to win a large majority of them, and they're already 0%, 0 from 2 to start off the season. It's just not good enough. And I keep thinking, like, I thought last week after losing to Roosters the way they did, they'd come out and just destroy the Knights. Obviously it didn't happen, and I'd love to say Cowboys would come out and smash the Broncos, and if Cowboys play the way that we know they can, I'm sure it would happen. But at the same time, like, I think Broncos have got the 4-pack if they all fire to really match with the Cowboys, particularly the second rowers. Backs don't really impress me for either side, really. Very interested to see Lachlan Coote, see how he goes, see if he's still as quick. I suspect that he's probably not as quick, but, you know, weird things happen. Brett Stewart hasn't lost much pace, and he's had lots of knee injuries and that. Where the game is won, I believe it will be won in the halves, and I just don't think Milford and Hunt. Oh, and I'll say the spine, actually, because it's probably more accurate. So you got the Kahu, Milford, Hunt, and McCullough up against Coote, Morgan, Thurston, and Kosh Jason. Now looking at both sides, Coote, you know, in his prime, a lot better than Kahu, but he hasn't played for a while, so question marks over him. Kosh Jason, he's not the best player, but, you know, he's there. And I suppose Granville, you can count him. He's pretty okay off the bench. And if you want to go for the Broncos, Nicarima, I haven't really seen too much of him. But yeah, Milford, Hunt in particular, they just don't really connect that well. I don't find. Milford just hasn't really doesn't do it for me at 5'8". I mean, Ben Hunt we saw last year is a great player, but maybe that was just sort of a 1-year wonder thing. People getting adjusted to him. I mean, back in the day, Mortimer looked incredible in his first year. Yeah, I don't know what to think of Broncos side, and also Cowboys. It's such a hard game to read because both sides on paper have a pretty okay side. It's just a matter of which team clicks. I think the Cowboys I think they'll turn it around this week. I do think they'll win. I think whoever wins will be 13+. I think one team will just turn to shit, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'll go Cowboys 13+. And that's where the video is going to end. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Also, if the team lineups have changed or people have pulled out, I'm recording this on a Tuesday night, so that could be possible reasons, but lineup shouldn't be too different. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you can leave a like, that'd be very much appreciated. If you can subscribe to my channel, also very much appreciated. If you want to follow me on Twitter, see what I talk about the footy, that sort of stuff, it's at Mr. Luke YT, and also I've got a Facebook page in the description below. If you can give that a like, that'd be awesome. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you for the next video, which is Super Sad Day. Bye, guys.